Hello there. I'm so sorry if you tried to join me in the event group. I've had some tech difficulties, which doesn't surprise me. I'm really sorry. But if you can see this, can you let me know, please? Because that would be just fantastic. I'm not sure whether I'm just broadcasting into the void. So I'm so sorry about this. I was slightly late. I didn't. I've tried so hard to get it right, but I didn't. There's also a bit of a time lapse, which means that I'm not quite sure what's happening. Anyway, you know what? I'm just going to start anyway. I need to. I mean, this is well late. I'm so sorry about this. So, anyway, I am Natalie Ann Johnson, and I run a website called CraftAGoGo where I share like lots of different craft projects and cut files. And I also teach people how to use Cricut and Silhouette machines. But today it's going to all be about Cricut Design Space, which of course is the Cricut native software. And if you could just say hello and introduce yourself, that would be brilliant, especially after this late start, because I'd love to know if any of you are there. And if you just introduce yourself and say where you're from, and also if you can tell me what it is you most want to make on your Cricut, and yeah, that would be fantastic. And anyway, before we start, I would like to, yeah, I just want to remind you that I've got a course that's launching on Friday. And if you want to add yourself to the to the VIP list and get $100 reduction off the price of the course, then do sign up at www.cuttingmachinemagic.com. But you will also get my template for this swing card and detailed step-by-step instructions on how to make it. Now, I've made this card in so many different variations. I've made it for babies, and I've made Father's Day card versions out of it. But I think the main thing is that this has all been made using free elements in Cricut Design Space. Apart from this lovely picture of my cousin, and it uses the template, but it's really detailed, and I do recommend that if you want to learn Design Space, you look at it, because I really feel as if you really learn when you apply things practically. So yeah, do give that a shot. But today I'm going to be looking at these main features in Cricut Design Space. I'm so sorry, I got really overwhelmed by the technical issues. So, right, please bear with me because I'm new to this software. And I think that you should be able to see my screen now. Yeah. So I'm off the screen, which is a blessing, but you can sort of see me in the corner. I'm sorry about that, but I'm going to get going with this. I'm going to look at Weld first of all. And you probably know already how to create a shape. That's by clicking on shapes in the left-hand margin. And I'm choosing a square, and you get this rather, well, I've created two. You get this rather clunky, big grey square, but I'll keep that. And I'm also going to create a triangle. And you probably know that you can resize this by left clicking and clicking on this button in the bottom right hand side. And but at the moment we can only resize these in proportion. if we want to make this, this circle is an this triangle is an equilateral triangle at the moment, and if we want it to change the length of the sides, we need to click on this padlock on the left-hand side, and then this green button appears. Then we can resize it out of proportion. So then we move it up, and okay, so we've got a sort of flat triangle here, and you can probably see what I'm going towards making here. And right, so I'm going to just drag this square up, like left clicking and dragging. And then if I want to make sure it's centered perfectly, I just need to left click and drag over the whole thing. And then there's this, if I go to the top margin, there's an align option, and I want to center horizontally. That's just to make sure that it's all centered. And now, finally, we're going to look at Weld. So I'll left click and drag over both. And another way of doing this is by just left clicking and choosing them in this right hand margin here. You can see that they go a slightly darker grey when they're selected. So with this selected, I'm going to choose the option at the very bottom of this right hand margin, which is Weld. And if you look on the canvas, you'll see that it immediately joins up as one piece. And it looks like an arrow or a house, depending on, you know, what you want to use it for. And, you know, I mean, it's not terribly exciting, but you can make really good combinations of shapes, and especially with the other functions, which I'm going to go into now. So if I want to make this slightly more sophisticated, and I mean slightly, I'm going to create another square. Again, I want to unlock it with this padlock because I want to make a front door for my house. And so I want to resize it as a sort of a tallish rectangle. And then I'll just put it at the front of this house here. And I'm going to left click and drag over both pieces. And then you'll see that when I do that, in the bottom right hand, at the very bottom of the right hand margin, you can see that this slice option is open. And again, if you look at the canvas when I click on this, then, well, you can see something happens. It doesn't look that exciting. But then if I click on this door and drag it away, and then click on it again and drag it away, you'll see that I've just cut a piece out from it. And although that, I mean, it's very, very basic, but you can do so many things by cutting pieces out from other things. But that's the main way that you will design in Design Space, by using pieces as a hole punch, really, or some sort of stamp. And anyway, I'm going to delete that. But oh, sorry, one of the main things I want to let you know about slice is you can only slice one piece from another piece. You can only select two pieces at once with it. And I think a lot of people try to select it not knowing that. So, okay, I'm going to create a square, and I'll make that smaller. I'll change the colour too so that we can see what's happening. And okay, so this is again, please don't please don't think this is a design that we're going to make. This is just to show you how the functions work. So I've made this small square, which is a window. I'm going to copy that, Command and C and Command and V, or Control and C and Control and V. So if I've got these two windows on my house now, and if I left click and drag over the whole thing, and I look at the bottom of this right hand margin, you can see the slice option isn't there at all, and that's because I've selected three pieces. You can only chop one piece out of another at once. So I'll need to just select the house and the window. And I can do that by left clicking and dragging over just those two pieces. Or again, I can choose them both in this margin on the right hand side. Anyway, if I do that, I'll just drag, and then again, watch what happens on this canvas when I click on slice. So I've got slice because again, there are only two pieces selected. Now if I click on slice, you can see this, the other squares just disappeared, but don't worry because it is there. It's just, I don't know what happened there. Sorry about that. Sorry, this is a technical nightmare. Okay. Yeah, so when I did that, this square on the left disappeared, but it is there. It's just hidden behind because I have sliced this piece out. So I'll just pull this window away and this other window. And then I'm left with this piece. But we can see in the right-hand margin that the window that we cut originally is still there. It's just behind. So I want to click on this house. I want to click on Arrange and then Send to Back. And then my window appears again. So I then want to just drag and click over them. And then because there are just two pieces, I can now slice this other window out. So I'll do that and I'll drag this window away. And so, right, we've got a house and nobody's pretending that it's perfect, but this is just like we've just used, you know, the main things that we need to know about, which is weld and slice. And, but we, you know, it's like we've only used the shapes option here. But there are lots and lots of options open to us. And to show you that it can be a bit more sophisticated, I'm just going to look in images by clicking on images on the left. Now that will bring up everything that's available to you on Cricut, including Cricut Access. And I'm not a member of Cricut Access. I didn't really use my trial very much either. So I just want to use the free images and I want to show you how you can get the most out of your free images. So if you've got this images section open and you look just right next to the search box, you can see filter. And if I click on that and then I click on free, I can get all of the options that will just, I don't have to pay for. And some of them are quite good. Look, you've got like a whole calendar here. And because I was doing a house, I actually want to search for a house. So I'm going to type house and they are. Yeah, these look, I hate to say it, they look a lot better than my house, don't they? So I'm just going to click on this and then left click and click. I'm just going to select all these houses. And then when I've selected them, I just need to click on Insert Images on the bottom right. And then they will appear on the canvas. And okay, it seems harsh, doesn't it, to criticize? It is harsh to criticize this house because what I want to stress is these houses were clearly not designed in Cricut Design Space, and I know that because look at these icicles; they've all got curved sections on them. You know, you can't draw a curved line in Cricut Design Space. All you can do is chop existing designs out of designs, or you can import designs and just, but all you can do is really stamp pieces out of other pieces. But that doesn't mean that you can't make things that are quite elaborate. And to show you how you can use existing designs, like imagine if you wanted to do like a sort of skyline with lots of these buildings connected. Right, first of all, what I need to do is ungroup, and that's another function we're going to look at. This is grouped at the moment. All the pieces are joined up and we need them to be separate. So to ungroup them, we click on Ungroup in the top of this right-hand margin. And now we can move all these pieces around. And but we can use these elements in new designs. And sorry, I'm confused about this stuff. Sorry, I'm just so, because we were late, I'm just so, got carried away. Anyway, right. So anyway, we click on all these pieces and we ungroup them. And then we've got this, like, we can start to create a street scene by just dragging these pieces apart. There we go. And then this is when we can remember our weld function again. If we left click and drag over the whole thing, then now this is all one piece. And we did have all separate pieces. So you can see how you can start to build up different sorts of shapes with this. But Now I want to look at contour, because I think contour is something that's often overlooked. And if I click on contour now, right, I want you to notice what's the elements of this group of buildings that I've joined together here. If I click on this now and go to contour, you can see it shows me all of the windows in this house. And so if I decided that I wanted some windows and not others, I can just delete them by clicking on them. And when I click on them, they'll disappear from the canvas. I mean, you can't quite see that though because it's in the way. So if I get rid of, what should I get rid of? For example, if I want to get rid of these, just this sort of semicircle windows at the top, if I just click on those, and then I go back to the canvas, you can see that they've disappeared. It's a way of taking an image that you've imported or taken from Cricut Access or Design Space, or even your own image. Like if you look at the one that I designed at the start, if I click on contour for this too, you can see I can get rid of the windows, and or I can restore them if I want to. But anyway, this contour thing is good if you sort of like an image but you want to make some modifications to it. And but also if we go on to contour again, right, I'm going to restore those windows that I took away because I quite like them. Let me hide them all, show contours. If I wanted to, I could, instead of getting rid of individual windows, I could also get rid of the backdrop. So if I do that, if I just get rid of the bigger shape of the buildings, then I've got all of these windows. And that means that I could create my own building. And like, again, if I use shapes, I just create like a big rectangle. Well, a big square. And if I then resize it by unclicking on the padlock and just creating a rectangle, then I can take these pieces and I can just, wait a minute, I'm going to bring them to the front. It's clicked on, so I'm going to go arrange and center front. And if I wanted to make like a new building that was that had this sort of arrangement of windows on it though, sorry, I could, wait a minute, I need to get this the right size. A bit wider than that, I think. Yeah, this is just to show you how you can use all of these small shapes in these Cricut Design Space shapes. You can make them into quite elaborate patterns. So again, if I left click and drag over the whole thing, and then I slice, I can stamp these shapes out of this bigger piece. And so, you know, you really can create things, but you just have to stamp pieces out of other pieces. And so I hope that has made sense so far. But I'm going to show you another example. I'm going to bring in another piece from Cricut Design Space. I'm going to go to Images. I'm going to type on tree. And I'm going to bring this one in. I like this tree. It's sort of, I like the shape of this one. So if I just insert images. Sorry, I'm going to get rid of my houses as well. Including the original house. And okay, so we've looked at weld and attach. No, sorry, we've looked at weld and we've looked at contour and we've looked at slice, but we haven't looked at attach and group. Now those first three things, weld, slice, and what's the other one? Contour. Yeah, weld, slice and contour, they all make changes to the shape, and attach and group make changes to the arrangement. And look, if you see this tree that I've brought in, it's grouped. I can't do anything with it that does, like if I drag it around, it drags all of the sections, even though it's in different sections. If I want to separate it, I need to click on Ungroup at the very top of this right-hand margin, Layers panel margin. And if I click on Ungroup and then click on it, I can drag these pieces away so that they're all separate. And you can choose your favourite sort of type of tree if you want to. And if you wanted to make a sort of, again, a sort of skyscraper type thing, yeah, like a sort of landscape or something, you could join up like different elements like this. But what am I going to, I think I'm going to go back into images on the left, and I'm in these free images, and if I just type in fruit, I really like this fruit with smiley faces on it. So if I just insert this, and then, so to show you how group and attach work, I'm just going to, well, I've clicked on this fruit here, and look, I can click on Ungroup in the top margin here. And much as I love these smiley faces, I can take these, I can take the eyes away, and I can take the smile away. And you know, I could add these smiles to anything I wanted to, but it's actually the fruit I want. I think what I want to do is, I think I want to take this green version of the tree, and then if I left click and drag it and make it slightly larger, I think I like the red apple. And I can then drag that so that it appears to be part of the tree. And so once I've moved that there, because it was ungrouped, I could move it. I need to click on Command and C and Command and V to create a copy. And then I can just start adding apples around this tree to make another image. And there we go, just keep adding to that. I don't know where to put them really. But the thing is, if I was to, wait a minute, I'll get rid of these other things. I actually want to use the pear in a minute, so I'll just keep that. So if I wanted to make this tree up now, if I go to make it and I click on the appropriate piece, right, it will print the tree out in the right position, but the apples will all be in a row. And if I want to transfer something a bit more accurately, I'll want it to go straight on a piece of transfer tape, and I won't want to put them on individually. I'll want them to be in exactly the right place. So that's what attach is about. Attach links things so that they're in exactly the right position when you come to apply them. It will put them in the right position, but it will give you a cutting mat that puts them in the right place. So this isn't the right place. This is like a row of apples. So I'm going to go back again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on each apple. I like click on one, then I'll click on Shift, click on all the apples. And if I don't want to do this, I can choose them on this right-hand Layers attribute margin. And when they're all selected, what I need to do is click on Attach, which is at the bottom of this Layers attribute panel. And there you go, now they're all grouped together, and if I click on these apples now and I move them, they all move as one piece. And then if I go to make it and I go to this mat with the apples on, they're all in the right place. And so that's the difference between attach and group. What group will do is if I left click and drag over the whole thing and then click on group, it just means that I can move it around more, and then when you import it into your computer, everything is in the right place so that you can see it. And sorry, I think I've raced through all that. But sorry, I was so fazed by the technical difficulties that I think I rushed a bit. But has anyone got any questions at all, please? Oh, Angela, thank you so much. And Julia and Lisa. And Angela wants to make everything. Well, I do too. And I think I'm getting there. I don't know about you. So, yeah, wait a minute. I'm going to go back to again, I've got this tech. I've got this, yeah, I'm back again. There's a bit of a time-lapse thing going on. So, when I ask questions, it comes in, like years later. But, oh, Angela asks, what's the difference between attach and weld? Right, okay, I'm going to go back onto the screen now. Wait a minute, where is it? All right. Okay, if I show you, wait a minute, can you see that properly? I don't know if it's working. Yeah, right. I've got this tree here. Remember we put these apples on this tree. I'm just going to ungroup that again. But what happened with the apples was we pinned them all around the tree, and what attach does is holds them into place. So when it comes to cutting them out on the cutting mat, they're all in exactly the right position. Like if you attach them to a piece of transfer tape, they will all peel off in exactly the right position rather than you individually, attaching them. And that works a bit better. If you're using letters, for example, you definitely want them in the right place and you want the spacing to be correct. But weld, though, is, right, if I've got this other tree here, and I take this pear, I knew there was a reason I left this pear hanging around. If I want to create a silhouette of this tree and I want to put pears on it, right, I'll just copy this pear. If I put Command and C and Command and V a few times. And so I want it to be a silhouette, so let me make sure it's sort of on the edge. Again, I'm not saying any of this is perfect. I'm just showing you the principles of the whole thing. And if I just put a pear there, maybe one there. And actually, I'll flick this one by using this top option here. And right, so if I weld this, right, I need to left click and drag over the whole thing. And if I weld, it all becomes one colour, meaning this is all going to be cut out of one piece. The piece that we attached will cut exactly in place, but it will cut in two different layers. But now these pears and the tree will all be cut out from one piece, like, it's a silhouette now. And so something I forgot to say about weld is that you can only undo it just after you've done it. So if you're fond of what you've created and you want it there in case you want to go back to your original version, then just make a copy of it and move it aside, because once you've welded it, it's hard to go back to it. And yep, so Lisa's asked about attaching letters. Yeah, of course. Letters are another thing that we can join together. I mean, when you start to type text in Cricut Design Space, like if you click on the T on the left, and this box opens, and what should I type? Yep. Right, so I've typed hello, and it's as default, it's in this Cricut Sans. And if I want to ungroup these letters, I click on ungroup at the top here, and then I can move these letters around. But also, I can attach them, because if we go to cut them out now, that doesn't say hello. If you put this on a piece of transfer tape now, it wouldn't. Hello. It doesn't work, does it? So what we would need to do then is just left click and drag over the whole thing and then click on attach. And then if we go to make it, it makes it all as one word. And that's what we want to do. Now, I don't know if anyone's got any more questions. There is a bit of a time lag, But there was something I wanted to say, which is, I know I've raced through this. So if you've got any questions, right, I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow, which hopefully will not have the same technical difficulties. And, but also, the thing that I want to introduce tomorrow is the idea of working in software that isn't Cricut Design Space. And I want to recreate, well, wait a minute, I just want, actually, I'm not, sorry, I don't like to put my face back up, but I feel it feels rude not to. So, right. Okay. What I want to do tomorrow is I want to talk about the same things that we've done today, the same principles of joining pieces together, whether they're just attached so that you can move them around, or welding things together, and cutting pieces out of other pieces. But I want to show you how to do this in Inkscape or Illustrator. And you might wonder why, if we've just done this now, if you can make these things on Cricut Design Space, why would you want to do them on Illustrator or Inkscape? And there are really good reasons. First one, you can work offline. You can't cut things out offline. You can't get your machine going, but certainly if you want to design things, you can just make them offline and you can save them on your computer. You can share them with your friends. And really importantly, you can actually sell them. You can make your own designs and sell them. So that's, I think, a really good reason to learn how these things work. But also, it's a great introduction by using these, by learning these basic principles and just applying them to Inkscape or Illustrator. And I don't think there are any more questions, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. The final thing I want to say, I just want to remind you that my early bird cap for my course is opening on Friday. So do join my VIP list by signing into www.cuttingmachinemagic.com and also getting, again, my Design Space course, including the template that enables you to make these swing cards. And the instructions are so detailed, you'll definitely be able to make a card and you'll know all about Design Space by the end of that. Now, I'm so sorry I've really rattled through this, but thank you so much if you've joined me. And it'd be brilliant to see you again tomorrow. But in the meantime, have a really lovely evening, and I hope you enjoy all of your crafting. Okay, bye.